Good evening, Jace.
Good evening.
Welcome. It's been a minute for the podcast, and about 12 days since our last broadcast in general. So here we are. We are back. We're doing some shows. We had some life things, well, just scheduling things on Tuesday. So here we are squeezing one in on Thursday, and then not to disappoint, but we aren't going to have a Friday stream because I'm not here tomorrow. I'm going to be traveling for an event, so we'll get that out of the way. But we are here tonight, here to talk about all things. Run through our last week in Legion. I've been very busy in the Legion world, all aspects of Legion. We have some AMG news, not related to Tempest Force. That is going to be its own topic tonight. But Tempest Force is also out if you didn't hear that, or seen the internet, or been on the list builders today. And then we'll have some league updates and talk about anybody who's played their games and where we're at. I know that I was supposed to have a league game today, but then I had an emergency dentist appointment. So, a last-minute dentist appointment, I should say, no emergency. But so I didn't get a league game in today, but I have played one in a lot of practice between the last time we casted. So how about you, Jace? What have you been up to in the last week or two here?
Been busy with work, mostly getting wrapped up, getting ready for my study summer. So I haven't really got much gaming in, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Are you hobbying tonight or just hanging out?
Not tonight. I'm just hanging out.
All right. Too busy of a show tonight to be hanging out or to be hobbying. You got to stay focused on this Tempest Force. I'm just going to jump back quick to the title. If you haven't caught the title here, it's a weather report episode tonight. So Blizzard Force was a thing. Then it was Remnant, and now it's the Tempest. Wind has blown in here, so all related to weather. And it's a good thing that I finished painting my entire Remnant Force yesterday so that I could immediately start on painting Tempest today. And if anyone knows how much I love painting, I am not happy. But nonetheless, I have it underway, and the ATSTs are just about finished. Just saying. Just saying. We also will be chatting with Bali tonight. He's going to be joining us for the episode, and we'll spend most of the time likely spending our time talking about Tempest. We'll leave some time for Roundtable and get in to all of that, and we'll talk about some games, etc. All the things that we've been up to in the last little bit, preparing for tournaments and all those other things. Jason and I maybe potentially have opportunity to play in a tournament on the 5th if we can squeeze some extra room, because the tournament is very small and apparently doesn't have room for more players. But I think they're working on a solution to that, because we'd like to get as many players, especially since it's literally in our backyard. So we would like to get to that one. I am going to one on Saturday in Manitoba, so about 5.5 hour drive ahead of me tomorrow, and then right after the tournament, which finishes at 8 o'clock, I'm going to make the 5.5 hour drive back home so I can not leave my dogs too long. And then I will be traveling to the East Coast, and I'll talk a little bit about my Gen Con cancellation / travel plan change. But in the consolation prize for that is that I'm going to be playing in a tournament on August 12th with OS Dad and A Strange Events. So down in the East Coast, so my home province, not in my home province, but next door. So I'll be traveling there and then get a game in with them. So consolation prizes, I get multiple tournaments in, which ain't half bad. So we have that as well. Jace, let's do the run through here, then we'll bring Pally in. We'll hit the social medias. Where do people find us on the interwebs?
You bet. So check us out on Facebook, Star Wars Legion Friday Night Fights, Twitter and Instagram at Legion_FNF, and of course check out our Patreon at the Terrain Studio, because you will find lots of cool stuff over there.
Yeah, I got a couple updates actually about that. So small programming change this week, just FYI, in case you didn't catch it in the intro. No Friday Night Fights this week, but we should have one the following week for sure. Jace is already talking about Tempest Force, so probably going to see the debut of Tempest Force. You'll just have to wait a week for us to get that fully assembled and on the table. But that'll be happening on the 21st, and then I think we're going to squeeze one in on the 28th, and then possibly the 4th. But then we will miss August 11th and 18th, as I'll be away, and probably the 25th because that's the first week of school. So probably just a break in August. Maybe we'll squeeze in a couple extra things along the way. But stay tuned next week. We'll have an episode, just FYI. And there's just a message about scheduling that on the 21st. On the topic of that, I want to give a shout out. Shawn is on here again, not because this is a repeat. This is actually another donation coming in by him. So we do want to greatly thank him as well as all our donators and patrons, past and present. I know some patrons have jumped on recently, which is great. If I don't have your name up there, just send me a DM. I would usually try to go through it and make sure I update that and get you all on there. Thanks to you guys helping us out at the trainstudio2019 at gmail.com. That's where you can donate. We are at 80%, $2,400 on the way there. Just FYI, small point about this. So I don't know if this is just a thing that's happening right now, but for whatever reason, the site I was using for the Bird Dog, which is one of the cameras that I was looking at, it's like astronomically increased in price, and I'm not changing the goal by any means. But the good news is that we had a PTZ camera that I also had in there. It's the NTZ 300. It's a Canon camera, which we run all Canons in the studio anyway. That might be the backup camera. It is actually the same price. I wanted to go with the Bird Dog because I had seen that AMG was actually using this. I really like the quality. But the functionality of the other Canon camera might be the same, and interfacing, I was doing some looking, it might actually sync up better. So whatever camera we get, the goal will be the same, and we'll have one. I'm just giving you a disclaimer that I don't know what's happened with Bird Dog lately, but literally they in some cases doubled the price of the camera, which is crazy. So hopefully that's just like a current internet buzz, and there's a maybe high demand or low production, but we'll either have this one or the other camera. Doesn't matter. They're the same. They were the same price. So just a small adjustment on that. Goal stays the same, and you guys are helping us get there. Just FYI, I was talking to Bernard about this actually last week, and then I realized I didn't change the image. Want to talk a little bit about the Patreon perks. If you were a patron, basically through the months of April and May, you have your cards. They were ordered then and then shipped out, and I saw about 3 or 4 different people posted them today. So check your mailboxes, check, look under your mats, and in Pally's case, go talk to your kids who may have stolen your mail. That these should be in your homes real soon. There is some extras. We sent some out to Shawn Death. He's graciously gonna gift some to a local tournament. So if you are looking for some extra goodies, I do have a few sets in I think all of the factions. Rebels is fairly limited, but we can chat about how to obtain these card sleeves. So, and last thing on Patreon, there is another the part 2 of the flocking tutorials up. It's a good lengthy one, so 40 minutes. Just talking about all forms of flocking and how to basically flock your base no matter what you've prepped it as. There's a no prep version all the way up to fully prepping with Sculptamold, but the end result is that you can achieve all of the same. There's just a few different extra steps along the way, and in the tutorial I talk about that. So go check that out, and there's a tutorial up every month or some video up every month, and you guys can get access to all of the previous ones even if you just join today. So there we go. I got the run through. Let's jump back and hey, say hello to Pally. He's here. Pally is indoors.
Hello, Pally.
We're all in basements.
Hello.
I've noticed here. So Pally is just coming in from the outside. He's here for a short time, probably not a long time. He's got to return to the streets and do the things. So Pally, welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Do the things.
Well, thank you.
It's
been interesting on the streets. Glad to finally come in. Somebody told me I was allowed to. So
nice. That was good. And yeah, that was really nice of your wife to to say that. That person that let you come indoors. I'm allowed to stay inside because my family's away, so nobody will know, none the wiser. So I can also let the grass grow long, and I can eat dessert before I have my supper. So there's that fine. So yeah. I'll tell you how much of an irresponsible adult I am. The other night I was just sitting around. I was like too lazy to make supper, and so I was just holding off. And then at finally about 11:30 p.m. I was like, you know what I need right now? I need to cook some bacon wrapped sausages. So out comes the air fryer. I cook supper up at 11:30. I eat supper, go to bed about 4 a.m, and just got up and rinsed and repeat the next day. And I was just like, this is what it's like right now. This is what my life has become, a cyclical, cyclical day that does not revolve around any source of time. So it's fantastic. And my wife is also on a 3-hour time difference. So, when I'm waking up at 8, she's already halfway through the day. Or if I wake up at noon, she's literally getting ready to eat supper. So it's fantastic. I'm really liking this, and in 2 months' time, I'm going to be regretting it heavily when I have to return to a normalized schedule. So. Yeah, so I just figured out what it's like to be a teenager again, or Jace's age, basically. So there's that. So enough about me. Let's get on to the things here. Jace has a wife, so he can well, I mean, Pally also has a wife, but I'm just saying that this is not responsible living right now. It's just a temporary living condition that I'm currently in, so that's where I'm at. I'm enjoying it though. I can paint at 2 a.m. and none the wiser. So as long as I feed my dogs, I'm good. All right. On the topic of being responsible, let's get into the rest of the show topics, I should say, and we'll jump into the news segment that we got here. All right. So news from the streets brought to you by Pally, just also confirmed to be a founding member of the 3 a.m. Club, of which I am also a member of the 3 a.m. Club. Actually, Pally, you know what? Let's jump back. Let's talk about what the 3 a.m. Club is for the uninitiated. What is a 3 a.m. Club?
There's a couple of us souls who work night shift, and
I mean, I don't work. I'm just up at night.
Well, currently Shawn's reliving past life decisions and up at the same time. Started Dark Slider and I think a couple other souls. Night shift, up super late, whatever. And around 3 a.m. Central Standard Time, we'd all end up together playing games of Legion for no good reason whatsoever other than we can. So, yeah, 3 a.m. Club.
So if you are awake at 3 a.m. Central Time, jump on the Discord. There's probably a voice channel going on. Maybe games are being played. Maybe games have not yet been initiated. Like the other night, I went to bed at 4 a.m. and there was a game being played. And then when I woke up at 8 a.m., they were still in that group chat. So I rejoined after my 4 hours of sleep and just caught the tail end of that and, did the redux of the game that was and carried on. So all good. We 3 a.m. Club now accepting new members. You are welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you need your cup of ice cream with some Legion, we're here for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an East Coaster, you literally would be waking up. If you're across the pond, it's probably midday for you. So also welcome to join. And and if you're in the middle of the country, then it's probably late for you. And so if you can't sleep, we're there for you. So solve all your problems. All right, well, let's jump back into the news because we got some things. Just quickly hitting some events here. Pally's still with us, by the way. He's just not on the screen, but just going over some AMG Twitter drops here. So Nova, as we mentioned last episode, is upcoming August 31st to September 3rd. So put that on your calendar if you're able to make that. So will be some Worlds qualifiers there for Legion, X-Wing, and Armada. This will be one for sure that I would love to get to, but never am going to be able to based on the fact that it is the first days of school. And as a school administrator, I need to be there for those. But if I've heard it's a great time, so if you got to get a chance to go, Nova Open. I'm not sure how full or if it fills up or if it's a hot ticket, but I'm sure that it will be with the World's qualifiers on the line. I'm sure it'll be packed. So we also have there's Pally back. The Golden State Games is going to be hosting World qualifiers as well, again in Legion, X-Wing, and Armada. And that is happening September 23rd and 24th, or to the 24th in San Francisco, California. So I think J-Rod was talking a little bit about this one here. So again, I don't know much about this one. I just wanted to put that on your calendar if you are in that area or still looking for a ticket in September. Hopefully I will not be, but if I am, I'm going to start marking all these down on the calendar. Anyone I can get to would be great. Again, I've never been to San Francisco, so great excuse to go visit. Oh, J-Rod will be there. Perfect. He's also in chat. Welcome, J-Rod. Sound off if you are in chat. We'll give you a shout out. Miss Justice, Bernard, Stan, Crow Servo is bring on the Tempest, he says. And we got Jay checking in from Ottawa. Bernard's in Ottawa as well. Maybe you guys know each other. And then the last one that we have on the calendar right now is the Lone Star Open. Again, Legion, X-Wing, and Armada. This will be July 22 to 23, so very soon. Upcoming. Might be late for people to schedule last-minute plans if you're far away, but if you're local or within driving distance, or in case Pally's circumstance, if it's connected by a landmass and has a road that gets there, you might Pally might need to leave now, but he might be there. Who knows? So put that on your calendar as well. So lots of qualifiers out there, and this is a Frontline Gaming event, so it's going to be well organized and well run. So there you have it. Another thing on the list here, I wanted to bring this up. I'm not sure if you guys have been checking out or following this, but they had made another post about their Spec Ops vehicles that the staff was doing. And there is multiple pictures up there of lots of different variants. Remember, there was a LAT and an AAT. But this one is done by Anne, and I think, I'm not playing favorites here, but Anne's definitely is the best one, in my opinion. And I like it because, one, it's an AA5, which is cool. She's also got like some LED glow effects happening. Clearly you can see the battle damage, and that tree actually is made out of green stuff and tin foil, so aluminum foil, depending on where you're from, or aluminium foil, depending on where you're really from. So that's really, really cool. I like that. And I'm not sure if this is considered modeling for advantage, because that's like an extreme damage token version. You're changing the line of sight here on it, but I think it's super awesome. I don't know what's happened to that quad gun, but it went up in points and is now effectively useless.
Exploded.
Yeah, exactly. So really, really cool. I like this one. I just want to point out that there's a post on here. So if you're looking for cool things, hobbying wise, for other vehicles, get some ideas. This one's pretty inspirational. So go check that out on the Twitter feed. And then on the last topic of inspirational, I just wanted to point this out for a couple reasons. So AMG dropped this post. It's a little older, but this is a table by Jim Martin. It's a Naboo theme table. I believe this one is a full-size table that breaks down into a 3x3. I want to point out, one, because the table is cool. And Jim's got lots of cool tables out there. But I really like the fact that they're kind of like, doing these little profiles. There's a little article on there, a little behind the scenes, conversation, ask questions, etc. And I think there's a lot of cool people out there doing like the hobbying aspect of the game, the painting aspect of the game, the table making of the game. 3D files. I'm not sure how much they can go into advertise, but clearly these files were specific for this, so I'm not sure that they can be sold or whatever. But there is lots of cool people doing lots of cool things, and I think it's neat that AMG actually did that, and hopefully they'll feature lots of great hobbyists out there. And I think there's an avenue to reciprocate some of that stuff, since people are putting a lot of work and effort into into their the Legion wares that they have. So really, really cool. I like the table, and I like the fact that they did an article. So Jim's done a few different ones, so if you want to go check that out, Jim Martin design, that's the logo there, and you can go find his website. So Chris Lane checking in as well. I can see that. And then Gen Con, just putting this up here. So my trip got canceled for a couple reasons. One, it was just getting overly expensive to travel solo, mostly due to the flights. I did not realize the Sunday was going to go so late, so I actually didn't book a Sunday hotel, so I added that on. When I was doing my booking, for whatever reason, the booking price was just continuously changing. My wife finalized it, put it all in. It's just under $3,000, which was a lot for a solo adventure for 4 days, which is fine. And then when we went to do that, we had a processing thing that says, literally, and I quote, "We hate when this happens, but the price has now changed." And it was $532 more than the $2,900 and change that we were at. And I just said, you know what? It's not meant to be. That is a lot. And so I just said, you know what, I'll do it. I'll do a road trip next year. My daughter will be 5, and I think basically capable of traveling and walking around for the con. So we said that we'll put that on the docket for next year. They've never been, and we talked about them kind of going and checking it out. They're not into that stuff, but I want them to kind of experience the things that I do. So I'm not going to be going this year. So I'm going to roll that fundage that I saved into other things, and I turned it into an East Coast trip to go visit family and play an event there. Which is 1/3 of the cost. So still got some money in the pocket. Can't go to Nova, but J-Rod might be. I might be down for that Blood and Plunder rematch. Just saying. End of September becomes feasible. So I know he's been really sharpening up his Blood and Plunder skills. So yeah, that's my sad news of Gen Con. Not for me, but you will have a great time. If it's your first time, you'll have a great time. If you've been there 100 times. It's awesome. So sad news, but we'll get over it because we have Tempest Force now, so we're fine. J-Rod, bring it. I love it, buddy. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. The disrespect, Jace. The disrespect. Okay, that is all the things that I needed to get off my chest. And then AMG drops this today. Can I just say thank you? But also I'm mad at you, AMG. just pseudo mad because I had planned the show out. And if you are a Shatterpoint player, just saying, you've got a lot of news. So I know that Legion got some stuff before, so I'm not sour grapes about that. But man, Shatterpoint's been getting a lot of love and cool characters, by the way, which I hope we get in Legion. But I did plan the show out, and I was working on a Make It Better segment. And I had this big plan. I was going to talk about the Remnant list I've been playing lately and just be like, hey, get some more eyes on this. Can you make it better? How are you running Remnant, et cetera, et cetera. So I do all that. And then AMG skipped the whole process and just made it better and called it Tempest Force. So there's that. Debatable whether it's better or if you agree if it's better or not. But there's no point in doing a Make It Better segment when we're on the heels of the Tempest Force drop. So guys, time to get into it. It is the weather. It is the weather. Condition in the room right now. And Chris Lane says it's meh. Okay, so he's not here for it. He's not here for the Tempest.
Interesting.
All right. I'm not disagreeing with Chris Lane because it's just hot today. I just think that there's some cool things, and I want to talk a little bit about maybe some other elements that people aren't factoring in when they're looking at on that paper. And one, I'm talking about like the cost model wise if you want to try to run this in some of the variants that we're seeing out there. So, all right, Pally and Jace, I've prattled. I've got all the things out of the way, done all the housekeeping. We're going to slide over and talk a little bit about Tempest Force. So, first blush, guys, this is the document here. We're not going to get into all the specifics of the cards yet. We will. But open up, Pally, we'll let you go first. Give us your overall, knee-jerk internet reaction to Tempest Force.
All right. Where's Imperial Special Forces?
They weren't in the movie.
See, there was a wonderful conversation about this earlier, and I was saving that particular hot take for Shawn specifically. That way.
I'm over here.
Yeah. No. It's interesting. I don't think it hits the same power ceiling that Remnant or Blizzard do, but I think it does a lot of really cool things that if you're not prepared for it, people are going to have problems dealing with.
Yeah, you might need impact.
It almost feels...
Yeah, just maybe.
I don't know how much I like the term, but it almost feels like a gatekeeper battle force in the same way that Dark Troopers are a gatekeeper unit, where like you almost kind of have to have a plan for it, because if you have a plan for it, you can beat it without much thought. But if you don't have a plan for it, you're going to have a bad time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we'll get into all the bad times or potentially good times if you're piloting it and this is for you. So, and we'll break down all the things we'll go through. We'll get into the document. I got screenshots so that we can see it in a bit of a bigger format here. But Jace, your hot takes, your initial impressions? Like yet another battle force for Empire?
Oh, yes, of course. Because, I mean, they didn't have enough. And, I mean, the best battle forces have to be Empire battle forces. It's kind of the rule. But I'm just excited for triple ATSTs.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'll tell you right now, I messaged Jay Shalansky this morning when this came out, and I was like, I will be very disappointed if you do not just have like a triple ATST list immediately ready to go. Because, I mean, this is kind of his jam. And I think for players like him or, we have less, in our local area, he loves to run ATST. And I've definitely ran ATST back in the day, like early Legion. I think there's lots of people who are just going to like this because they're like, wow, I get to run the toys that I don't have enough of and I need to go buy another one. So there is that. So...
Suddenly Shawn buying 4 ATSTs on release day doesn't feel so bad.
Suddenly look what's happening. So yeah, and all those people who don't have 6 scouts, which I was in that category until 11 o'clock this morning, and now I own 7. Just saying. But we'll get into that as well as we kind of move through. So first up, let's talk a little bit about this. So there's a little bit about the special battle rules Obviously battle forces are something that's been in our game for a bit, so there's not any surprises there. Maybe the interesting piece is that we were kind of talking to some event organizers today, is that a lot of questions about when is this force legal? And correct me if I am wrong, but we should be able to run this now. Like, there's no reason that we can't. It's a print and play version, unless, of course,
it's print and play.
Your tournament organizer says no, and I'm not going to tell you to argue with them. But if it's not legal at your event for whatever reason or whatever, that would be the only restriction I think we could see. But as a print and play version, we're not waiting on anything to run this. So. And maybe I'll ask you guys I'll just cover the special forces rules here, and I'm just going to pose a question about what you guys think about print and play in general. So Tempest Force Battle Force is an Galactic Empire faction, obviously. Vehicles in the army, so repulsors and or ATSTs, gain Scout 2. So it's not ATSTs only, it's vehicles. So
just deploy and roll out, and then Scout 2 all your ATSTs even farther up the board.
Yeah, suddenly
you want to be on that KP turn 1.
I mean, what about hemmed in? Do you want to be in my deployment zone now? Question mark.
I was gonna say, look, you take 3 ATSTs, you get hemmed in, and then you ignore your guns and you live your ATST running stuff over life. All those dreams.
I just imagine an ATST just
run it over.
Just going through, just kicking units as it, all 3 of them.
We'll get there. We'll get to running stuff over with ATSTs.
It's crazy. I mean, I just got hung up on Scout 2. I mean, bikes with Scout. All of this just feels like the Ralph Wiggum "I'm in danger" meme just keeps playing in my head when I think about being on the receiving end of this.
It's interesting because, again, without getting too far ahead, I think one of the primary units of this battle force also comes with Scout 3.
Yes, it does.
So, remember, this is your PSA, folks. If you start you end deployment phase with 0 troopers in your deployment, I don't think you get your bombs for bombing run.
You don't. You 100% don't. You will not have a bomb because they must be in there. No. That has actually come up.
This is your warning.
Yeah. And that is, I think I've talked about this before, but I was playing, I think it was in the online Gen Con tournament. I was playing against a guy with an Empire list, and he had Veers and 2 Death Troopers, and he was holding them until his last deployments. And he was down to those 3 units, and it was bombing run. And just out of good conscience, I just said, it was advanced positions, and I just said, hey, you're going to need to put bombs on those, or you're not going to get them. And it wasn't great for him because he didn't love to deploy like that, but it was better than having a feels bad moment when he basically wouldn't have been able to score any points. So, that as the rules are written right now, I believe you will not get them. So, a couple additional rules here: that units that are not in command range of a friendly commander unit and do not have a comms upgrade unit remove 1 less suppression during the remove token step. So, do not have a comms upgrade equipped, I should say. So your scouts, Jace, in this case, we'll get into that. Yeah. They do have comms, and so you probably want to fill that spot if you want to make sure that they can get that suppression off, and that's really important. You will have some stock standard core. I believe you can take as little as 1 core. We'll get in that next screen. They will not have comms, and so just something to keep in mind around that. Now, if you're just going to run heavy vehicles, you don't care about any of that, so there is that as well. During the setup at the start of the deploy unit step, you may set aside 1 friendly special forces or support unit in case I think it's just bike or scout. I think that's what it will be.
Yeah.
Marking the unit with a condition token. When you draw an order token with that rank that matches a set aside friendly unit, and you have no other units that you can basically assign that token to, similar to rapid reinforcements, you can place that unit on the table beyond range 2, so rapid reinforcements, of all enemy units. The unit is treated as activated and gets a face down order token. So potentially if you do play rapid reinforcements, you could be setting aside up to 3 units, I believe, to do this. Basically 2 from the rapid and 1 from this. Not to mention everything else you have has scout. So if you want to surround your opponent, this would be a quick way to do it for sure. And so yeah, that's where we're at. I think that this vehicle Scout 2 is scary.
The vehicle Scout 2 is the big thing.
Well, we'll get into all the reasons why here very, very soon. So just jumping over here, if you want to take this one, Jace, just maybe walk folks through in terms of what you can build and how many of each you can take.
Yeah, you bet. So, allowed units. You are allowed for your commander, only Imperial officers. That is it. Special forces. You can only take Scout troopers, of course, and no strike teams, which is the big thing. So it has to be full units. Core is stormtroopers. You can take speeder bikes for support. For heavies, you can take the ATST and Major Marquand, which is a new unique ATST, and there's no unique upgrades allowed. For these, you can take 1 to 2 commanders, so 1 to 2 Imperial officers, and you must include 1 or 2 of these. Each army must also include 2 to 6 special forces, so lots of scout troopers coming on the table. And then each army must include 1 to 3 core, so you only need 1 storm unit. Don't need a lot of those guys. You can include up to 3 support vehicles and up to 3 heavies. Triple ATSD, here we go.
Question for you guys. The commander rank that, so I'm just going to call Major M, so it's Marquand. Yeah. But Major M, just for easy, we don't have to stumble over his name this evening. Because he's a field commander, does that negate the requirement to take the 1 or 2 command units?
To take the 1 to 2 command units, yes. However, I don't believe he counts for that friendly command unit to remove to allow you to remove the suppression token.
He does not.
Yeah, so you do lose out. You don't get to remove any suppression tokens unless you take comms.
Well, you remove 1 less, right? It says so. Like I guess.
Well,
I guess
the word "and" is there, so you would need to be within range of the commander and have a comms.
Yes.
To remove your suppression at the end.
Units that are in command range of a friendly commander unit and do not have a comms relay. So you have to not have a comms and not be in command to not remove 1. So if you don't meet either of those, you get to remove it. It's worded very backwards.
Yes, so units that are not in command range of a friendly commander, and do not have a comms upgrade equipped, remove 1 less suppression. So if they don't have a comms equipped,
are not in command range.
Yep.
Yeah, so if they are in command range, they get to remove 1, or if they have a comms upgrade equipped, they still get to remove it.
That's how I understand.
Because you have to meet both of those requirements to not be allowed to remove the suppression token. If you don't meet both of those, you get to still remove it.
No. Okay. I could be wrong here. The way my brain reads it is they're saying if you don't meet both of these requirements, you remove 1 less.
No, what it's saying is if you meet both of these requirements, but the requirements are to not be in command and to not have a comms upgrade.
Oh.
Those are the 2 requirements. So if you do have an upgrade or are in command, you do get to remove it.
Okay. I think you're right here. I'll go into that's fair, Chris. I'll go into a diatribe later about why English language is fun.
Right? Pally, do you know how they could have avoided this? Take that word not and capitalize it.
Yeah. Or just
it's not that hard.
Yeah, or just written it in, and not the not the negative, not the requirements that you can't fulfill.
Okay.
Just the requirements that you should fulfill. Might have been easier.
So then, for my monkey brain here, in order to remove a suppression at the end of the round as per normal, do I have to meet 1 of these requirements or both of these requirements?
1. You have to be in command of a commander unit or have a comms upgrade equipped.
Okay.
Because if you don't have either of those, you remove 1 less.
Okay. Chat, This is why I play pre-Empire. It was a simpler time. It was a simpler world.
It was a simpler time.
And going back to my previous point, the commander icon would not. None of this would be satisfied if you were running field commander.
Right.
Correct. Major M doesn't count for that, so you have to have the comms upgrade to be allowed to remove the token.
Basically, yes. So your scouts will likely be able to, and your 1 or 2 or 3 core would likely not. So
yeah.
Yep. So just keep that in mind when you're building up the force. That was my point. And then if you're running vehicles,
techs are awesome.
You don't care about any of that. So all right.
If you're running ATSTs, though, don't know if you got the points for comms techs.
Yeah, you probably don't. But so we've covered off what you can take. It's fairly I like the simplicity of this. Like, there's not a lot of choice here. You take an officer, you take scouts. No strike teams, but you can still take a sniper. We'll talk a little bit about that. You take stormtroopers, you take bikes, and you take an ATST, or you take the named ATST. So really, the only choice is a non-choice. In the school business, we call this the no-choice choice list. So basically, you must take these things, even though it looks like you have a choice. It's not units. It's not unit options. It's units allowed. So
the question I haven't built a whole lot of Remnant, so maybe you can speak to this. But Remnant feels like a list building structure that's incredibly restrictive. And while you looks like you have a lot of choices, you kind of don't. This looks like a very restrictive list building list, but within it, I feel like I could come up with several different flavors of lists that behave entirely differently.
I would agree with what you said, but I would also go back and say that is paralleled exactly with Remnant. You can build several different Remnant lists as well. Like, you can build a little bit of a speedier one. You can build a little bit more of a gun line. You can build an all-comers, an all-in. There's... Yes, you are somewhat restrictive, and to unlock like the additional elements of the list, you have to fulfill a requirement. This one, I would say, allows you to unlock whatever element you want. There is some tax in here. There is a scout tax and an officer tax and a core tax. But the taxes in this list are, I would say, way less restrictive than what Remnant. In order to unlock the additions in Remnant, I think you're paying a bit more, maybe.
Yes. Is there a commander tax, though? Because if you take the named ATST, the commander tax goes away.
Well, yeah, but now you're taking 190 point commander tax.
Yeah.
If you don't want if you don't want to run an ATST version, we'll talk a little bit about that. If that's the route you want to go, then there's a cheaper tax. But either way, there's a commander tax, whatever vehicle, whatever package that comes in. So. Yeah, like, are you taking the first class ticket, or are you taking the the one next to the crapper? And I'm not saying Becky's crap, because she's not, but because she does things. But in this particular list, I think the tax is a little bit less here. So yes, okay. Let's jump into the things. Let's talk about the commander tax in the form of Major Marquand here. So I'll talk about this. I'll list a card out, and then we'll get into, you guys can give us your blush. He has 190 points and a no upgrade unit, so you cannot take anything additional. So he's 190, easy to figure that out. People already on the list builder. By the way, Legion HQ already has the list, Tempest list format up, so you can go build your Tempest list out now without making fake ATSTs that get to 190 points. It is a ground vehicle. Yeah. We know all the stats. We know 11 health, 8 resilience, surging to hit, not crit. Yep. And with surge defense. So cool. There is no tax for the elite Hammers pilot on this. Does have armor, arsenal 2, obviously. Direct vehicle, that's cool. I missed that initially on first blush. So take that other ATST, take that LTA, put that on there, and just get that extra aim or free aim every single time. Field commander, if you need to use as such. Option is there if you don't. Weak point rear, and then special issue Tempest Force. I think that just is the eliteness of
he can only be in only be in Tempest Force.
Yeah. Weird why they just did that as a keyword. I guess because the dot alone wouldn't necessarily rule out that he's only Tempest Force. So I guess that's there. Grenade launcher, twin light blaster, and then correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Is that the melee symbol as well? So these are melee. He's a melee version.
It's the same as the exact same as the Chewy one.
Right.
Basically, any of the new ones, they've just got rid of the normal melee and given you this new melee profile.
Cool. I like it.
Actually better than regular ATST melee.
For sure.
It is.
For
it
sure.
is better
Absolutely.
than regular. Yeah, you gain 2 more dice, I think, right?
What did they throw you gain 1 more dice. So regular
1 more die?
4 red. But so the regular melee is 4 red. But this is, what is it, red, 3 black, and a white. So you downgrade your dice a little bit, but you get impact if you want to kick.
And you go and your surge without
you're surging
having to take a pilot. Yeah. So
only issue is he can't take LTA.
All right, listen here, Crew Servo. I'm not saying you're right because I don't like to be wrong.
Oh, Crow Servo, yeah, I'll pop the comment. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's actually kind of funny.
That actually kind of matters a lot.
Actually might kind of be a thing.
Yeah.
Well, if only there was a way to get free moves.
Regular ATST melee is better. I retract what I said. My apologies, Internet.
Well, you know what? Maybe Tempest Force has a little bit something else to offer that will make up for this diminished kicking arc that this ATST. I mean, shouldn't it just be fixed front melee anyway? I mean, it's not like it's kicking sideways, so.
But that's always been the greatest image in my head is like RTs and ATSTs throwing in the leg out sideways.
Should it not have like a back arc though too? Like can it not just like mule kick? Like, I mean, I feel like it should be able to do that.
Well, the regular ATST absolutely can.
Yeah.
This apparently forgot how to use its feet and it just shoots stuff.
I can't wait for the errata. It's a thing. All right. Well, okay. So, scale of 1 to 10, Jace, how like hot on this guy are you? Like, is he good? Is he worth it? Are you happy about this unit?
I think you take him if you're taking an ATST in there. I mean, if you aren't taking multiple, I don't think you do because the big thing for him is that direct vehicle.
Yep.
But yeah, if you're going vehicle heavy, you take him.
I do appreciate Chris saying here, if you're kicking with an ATST, you're making justice level choices. That's true. That's true. Yep.
You're negating cover. You're negating shields. Yep. Yeah. Oh, you're negating defensive surges on ballistics.
That's true. That is true.
Yep.
That is true. Yep. All the good things. All the good things. Speaking of more good things, we'll get into this because we want to leave time for call center tonight, of course. That was a quick 45 minutes. So let's talk about the command cards. I will read them out. You guys can break them down. Pal, you're going to take 1 pip. Jace will take the 2, and then Pal, you go back to the 3, and we'll cycle through like that. So number 1 or 1 pip, and by the way, there's 6 command cards in here, which is kind of cool. Print and play, so you guys can all have them access. No purchase necessary. Drive them out is the 1 pip here. It's 1 vehicle, Tempest Force only, which I think is on all the cards. Just for disclaimer, I'll put that in there though. Friendly vehicles gain demoralize 1. We know that's been powerful on vehicles before. This round, the first time a friendly vehicle with a face-up order token displaces an enemy unit during its activation, roll a white defense die for each miniature in the enemy unit. For every surge or block result, the enemy unit suffers 1 wound. So effectively, this is like the reckless driver effect here. This is on... it's the first time a friendly unit with a face-up order token displaces. So I'm thinking it's going to be limited to only 1 time in the round, and it's going to be the first one that goes. So very similar wording again to reckless driver, but not applicable to all of your vehicles, even though you have a direct vehicle. Like if this was the general or whatever, he would get his vehicle maybe off this card direct to another vehicle, but only one of them will get the effect.
Well, now that... Okay, I've already been wrong once this podcast, so let's go again.
I think it might be 2.
I'm thinking that we're going to need clarification on this. If we can get LJ in here with this, will be clarified in the future update. Plaque. I think the way that you're reading this is 100% correct and can be taken that way. The first time a vehicle to face-up order token displaces an enemy unit during its activation.
Yeah.
Could 100% be taken as you get this effect one time.
Yep.
Done.
Yeah.
I think there's an argument that it could be the first time a vehicle to face up.
Yeah.
But
I don't disagree. I just always
not ambiguous.
Yeah, I'm always worried about the first time a friendly vehicle. So that's the singular for me. And again, we are only interpreting it as we are, and we're reading the card text. 100% agree that it could be ruled the other way. As I'm reading it, when I see I think singular.
Right. Yeah. And the counter argument to this is, if you keep going before we get to the next bit of punctuation, it says during its activation. So it could be read as the first time a vehicle displaces an enemy trooper during its activation, you get to do this thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree.
Which would now apply to all vehicles you have with face-up order tokens.
Yep. So, Shawn, to your comment, 100% agree that he can't kick backwards. I was saying that it would be. I think that the major or the general should have fixed front and rear for just kicking. I was just making a silly comment, but Pally. So I don't disagree, and I don't know. So I'm erring on the side of caution. It sounds like you can do it once. If you can do it more than once, cool.
It's definitely
because is there not a place where Jace, do you have a Legion HQ? Can you put an HQ uplink on an ATSD?
Yeah, you can.
So I'm just going down that rabbit hole. Fair, because this does not say ATSD. It says vehicles. So is there a world where if this was all of them, could you not do this with every unit that gets a face-up order token? Because again, this one does not say off this card. This just says with a face-up order token.
Yeah. It's ambiguous.
So, again, we've seen that before, right? Where the card text will say orders issued off this card, and then that really makes it clear. But is there a world where I could just have HQ uplink on all of my bikes and ATSTs and then actually do 5 of this particular move?
I gotta pop out for a quick moment. I'll be back in a minute.
I think some of that precedent's been set before too. If we look at Take That Clankers, it's not specific to units ordered by the card. It's any clone trooper with a face-up order, which there's numerous ways to get more than the 2. So, like I said, I mean, there's. Unfortunately.
Sorry. Go ahead, Pally. Go ahead.
I'll say I think it can be read both ways. I think it feels a little more balanced if it's once per round.
Yep.
But the big hiccup here is your entire clause is it's this round, comma, and you start the clause. The first time a friendly vehicle with a face-up order token displaces an enemy unit during its activation, comma. Yep. So that entire clause would suggest anything with a face-up order token. However, English is weird.
Yep.
And I've already been wrong once this episode, so let's keep it going.
Fair. I guess the point being is that this could be exceptionally abused if it's more than one. Again, and there's no governance of off this card. So any way for you to get vehicles an order and have played this card the round, you're getting demoralize up to 5. You're getting potentially 5 additional roll-offs for displacement on compulsory moves.
On top of the suppression from that.
Yeah, so the suppression that you get from the demoralize potentially if you're in range, the shot that you could do, the displacement that you can do, the damage that you can do off the block rolls. This has a high ceiling for damage if there's no governance on that. If it's just one, and again, we're speculating because we don't have an answer. We'll ask the questions, or somebody is asking it right now. So again, we're not telling you what it is, but it's a question that we have clearly and it's worth discussion. So
I do like that the demoralize is not tied to the face-up order tokens. It's just a thing that the universal effect for your vehicles.
Yep. So yeah, it's going to be, and that's already a powerful component. Now, that's not every round, but still, you got to imagine that there's a world where you have suppressive weapons, you might have other shots coming in from other units, you have the free demoralize, which is just a suppression, the potential displace units adding another suppression, the damage that gets rolled off that, not to mention the damage that you do off a shot. There's a high potential that this, and it's on a 1 pip, that this one pip is going to start that suppression train real fast. So, all right, we'll put a pin in that one in terms of we don't know, but high potential and still okay if it's just one, because the demoralize does apply to all your vehicles, which is kind of cool. So, all right, let's get into the second one. Jace is now back, which is perfect timing. 2 pip, we need reinforcements. This is 2 troopers, Tempest Force only, friendly units that have face-up order tokens, face-up order token, gain disengage this round. And again, it's friendly units. The card limits to 2.
HQ uplink and disengage those ATSTs. Not that they actually care, because they could do it
they
anyways.
Could just walk out anyway, but yeah.
Exactly.
But are you, like, trying to uplink your scouts?
You probably aren't.
No.
But I think you like the disengage.
Oh, you do. The thing with this is, it's 2 troopers. They're both going to get disengaged. And in a game where objectives matter, that might be all you need. Because usually it's 1 or 2 units that's the difference between winning or losing on some objectives.
Yep.
So to pick your 1 or 2 units that are not winning you the game and suddenly have them win you the game.
Well, I mean, we've all been in a scenario where a Jedi moves in, engages a unit touching the KP, but not your unit leader, pulls you off the KP, and then force pushes another unit also off. And it's like, oh, okay, that's not great. Now you're suddenly out of range, et cetera, or pulls you in, again, not touching the KP. So double disengage is a thing. So Call Me Captain talking about comms relays. Absolutely. There is potential for sure. Comm relay off the vehicle direct is, that's a way to certainly get three units with tokens easily enough, just off a relay alone. So, but 3 units with disengage all feels good. And I think the disengage keyword is pretty good. So, HQ uplink, again, Shawn pointed that out for sure. Yeah, there is ways. And again, these cards not being limited to the orders issued off the card is big.
It's big.
Like that line not being in there is making a lot of room for people to I should say be creative. I guess will be one way of putting that very nicely. So, okay, well, 2 pip, we need reinforcements. Not bad. So far, we're 2 for 2 for fairly decent cards, I think, and interesting ones we haven't seen. They're not like rinse and repeat of other things we've seen. So, okay, consistently alert. Tempest Force, 3 units. No unit distinction here. And this one says, when a unit is issued an order with this card, there it is. It gains 1 aim token for each enemy unit at range 1. If it did not gain any aim tokens, it gains a standby token. Okay, Pally, walk us through what scenario are we using this one in here? That's a lot of aims that you could potentially get if you've buried your ATSD.
Okay. Here's the thing. This is units, so you have a lot of flexibility with this. The ability to give your ATST standbys because you probably don't want them in range 1 is ridiculously good, because that's going to let you take 3 ATSTs and shoot 6 times a turn with them potentially.
Yep.
The other half of the coin is if you have units engaged in melee or something. Stormtroopers, pound for pound, are the best melee punchers out there.
Yep.
So now they get a bunch of aims. I know that the scout troopers absolutely love having aims.
They definitely
The problem is if you're at range 1, they're probably getting chewed up. I think this card is basically assault with upside.
Well,
now,
just to back it up slightly too, Pally, that there is a world where, like, Scout 3 scouts can be in great situations and be at range 1 and nowhere near danger, because there's no line of sight requirement here either.
Yeah, that's true. I think what you're looking at with this card is this is basically assault with upside. If you get some aims out of it, that's fantastic. Have at. I love the aims. I'm probably going to expect to see this more to dump a bunch of standbys on stuff that can't have those standbys stripped.
Yep.
And actually,
triple ATSTs.
Yeah. The other thing I'm looking at right now too is to see if I don't believe that speeders can take the standby action, but I don't remember if they can spend it.
No, I don't. I think there was some conversation about that today. They cannot gain and or take it. I do not think a repulsor can ever have a standby token.
Okay, so you're basically at the standbys on ATSTs and maybe troopers, and then aims occasionally.
This seems like. Where are you playing this? Is this like open early? Are you gonna play like your? Are you gonna scout out, turn like off deployment, and then just like turn 1, drop this 3-pip, and be like, cool, I'm outside of range 2 now, and I'm going to stand here with 3 standbys, turn 1. I'm going to shoot 6 times, turn 1.
I think this card has a deceptive amount of nuance to it that I really like. Again,
turn 6, key positions.
That right there.
Yeah.
I don't think you're playing this card for the aims. I think that's a potential benefit that you might situationally get, but it's not the plan. I think this card is going to shine when you have 1 plus however many ATSTs that are on the key position or have it covered, or have a payload covered that they have to move into the range of their payload, or any objective where they have to move into your range, and it's like, you can move into this range, but it's gonna hurt. Because the other thing is, in order to pop the standby of an ATST, they're now inside of the blast gun range also, so you're not getting cover from that. The aims are possible. I think that's an important part of this card to give you a little bit of extra flexibility, but the real meat and potatoes of this thing has been the standbys for ATSTs that can't have those standbys removed is going to let you basically control a massive zone of the battlefield and apply a ridiculous amount of pain when you force a situation that your opponent has to move into if they want to play the objective.
Okay, so just walk me through this scenario here then. I'm playing Recover the Supplies. Mm-hmm. I want to box grab fast. Why am I not going to scout everybody up, scout my scouts in behind my ATST, play this opening turn, say you can't come anywhere near this box, and then safely extract my box?
Definitely could on that mission.
I think you can there. Maybe I said it wrong, and that's fine. I don't play Recover ever, so it's not really in my brain.
Fair. No, I'm, and you're not wrong for what you guys said. I'm just saying, like, I think that situationally this card could be an early play card.
Oh yeah.
It depends on the mission, 100%.
Yeah. What this card says is this zone of fire right here is mine, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can come in here, but it's gonna hurt a lot.
Just like in my brain, where because I like the my grade 3 report card specifically read, and I quote, does not play well with others. So there's a world where you could scout up ATSTs, you could scout up scouts with SABs. You play this and say, here's all standby, and I'm just going to stand here. I'm going to throw 6 bombs out. And that's going to be for later KP no-go zone. And you're not going to come get me, and I'm probably going to stand here for a little bit and just pollute with bombs for a while. And I can play this card at any time, really. It doesn't have to be a turn 1. It could be a turn 2, it could be a turn 3, whatever. If we've seen in chat here a little anti-melee dive for sure, anti-force user dive, 100%. But I just feel like this card plays so well with the scout move, I can run in behind these huge line of sight blockers, and I continue to make this area so prickly that the more you let me do that, the worse it is for you. It almost forces your opponent to have to crack this standby nut.
Oh, absolutely. Which is fun because depending on how they choose to crack it, you can choose to not crack it.
100%. And it. Shawn's saying mid-game play. You guys talked about end-game play. I'm talking about early game play. I think the point being here, as we cycle to the next cards, is that I think this card is good, and it's situationally better in some, but I don't really think there's any negative that's coming off this. An ATST with 4 or 5 aims feels good too.
I definitely think it's the best out of these 3.
Oh, absolutely. This is like everything that Echo Base standby card wanted to be, but the standbys can't be stripped.
Fair. Yeah. Well, I mean, they can, because it is 3 units, but but on the best, in some scenarios, you're like, no. Just no. Yep.
And the important thing, too, is at its absolute worst, if you get nothing out of this card, it's Assault, which is not a bad card.
Yep.
Yep.
For sure. Call Me Captain saying, I think scouts with 4 or 5 aims is better. 100%. I just don't know if you want your scouts to be living at range 1. There might be, again, situationally, if that's where they find themselves, great. I think another important distinction on here, just to Pally's point and Jace's point, is that if you're wanting multiple standbys and ATSTs, then you're using the 3 units off the card. There is no direct that's going to then drive that standby. So if you're doing 2 ATSTs, that's 2 units, and then you have 1 additional. So you are going to have to pick those, and depending on the range band, that's going to determine what you get. So I think the standbys are definitely better on the ATSTs. Don't disagree there. Aims on scouts feel great.
There's a world here where you have 2 ATSTs with standbys and 1 scout with a bunch of aims, and you're like, go ahead, touch that scout, I dare you.
Yes. Yes, I do. I do like the whole like Big Brother feel to this card. Like, come get the soft squishies and mess with the big boys. There is that.
This card is going to shift game states in a hurry. Because you're probably going to be able to see it coming, and there's not a lot you can do about it.
Because in your scenario, what I was kind of thinking is like, if I think this is going to be a late game play in a KP, I think it forces me as an opponent of this list to be in position earlier than I might want to be. Exactly, or I'm going to get shredded late game trying to get there. So I might need to establish the middle to, I'm going to give you a bunch of aims, but I'm going to deny those that getting shot 4 to 6 times.
It's probably round 1 for recover supplies. It's round 2 for hostage. It's whatever round your opponent's payload outpaces their army and they have to catch up to it. Oh, by the way, if you have 3 ATSTs on the board across from you, don't play payload. Don't play payload. Don't do that.
And hostage just feels like it's harder to get away with this list now. Holy smokes! Like, it's literally walking.
It's like I'm on top of
hostage you. On deployment. It's like it's walking by your hostage.
Round 1, I'm going to stand there looking at the hostage, and round 2, I'm going to play this.
Not even that.
And, like, move the hostage.
Yeah.
Not even that. You just like. You walk your ATSTs past the hostage and then make a line, and they can't even get their hostage back to their side of the table.
I was gonna say, is there a world where you just scout out 2 ATSTs and angle them in, and then actually just wedge them out,
box them out?
So I think there's a 2-pip for the new unique STST.
What an amazing segue! What an amazing segue!
Move it over.
It only took us 166 episodes to get good at these segues, so here we are. All right, I think we're back to Jace on this one.
Major M.
Yeah, so Gunner Infantry. I love the name for this card, by the way. So Major M here. During his activation, Major M reduces his speed by 1, so 2-1. And then Major M gains tactical. Cool. There's a free aim for him if he moves. And his weapons gain suppressive this round. That's all of them, right? If I'm reading that English language correctly. And doesn't he have like Arsenal 2, or is he
Arsenal
3?
2?
Yeah, so he's Arsenal 2.
So
he's 2.
Pick 2.
Yep. So pick 2 weapons, make them suppressive. Not bad. And get a free aim. That's cool.
Or just move around a corner that somebody thought they were hiding behind with your tactical and make them sad.
I mean,
Yep.
yeah, or just move and touch something and get in range 2 with your blast weapon and just say you have no cover 2. That's also applicable. And or you can just pool the weapons together and just give one thing 2 suppression if you don't want to split fire here. So, yeah, call me captain. The lack of link targeting array bothers me on him, and no mortars. I mean,
yes, I am sad you can't take link targeting array on him.
He's got some limitations, but I mean,
I'm gonna remind me to ask this question during the roundtable.
Yep.
What are our thoughts of these new units coming out with 0 upgrade slots?
I mean, I kind of feel like you're
don't know later.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Listen. He's trying to tell me how to run my own show here. Jeez, we bring him in from the streets. We give him a warm place to stay, and he's just basically in charge now. Okay, Jace, this is you. What are you thinking on this one? It's not a strong 1 pip. Sorry to say.
It's a very good 1 pip. It is a very good 1 pip, and there's not really much your opponent can really do about this. Like, as long as there is a unit that you can move and get into range of, you're doing just fine with this 1 pip.
Like maybe I'm on the other end of it. I don't know if I'm playing a 1 pip. I'm not sure how much I'm going to take advantage of the tactical. Like,
I think you take advantage of it a lot because here's the thing.
Oh, yeah. Do I want to move though? Like, I mean, I can or I can't. Like, I might.
This list is all about moving your ATSTs.
Oh.
But I might just be in position, and I just wanna go early with this.
Then you just aim and shoot, and you still get suppressive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just take the aim shot here. I guess it's just an option to move. I guess is really where we're at with this.
Well, don't you with tactical? Do you also get the aim off of a pivot?
Pivot's its own action. I'm not sure if it's a move action or not.
Pivots, I don't think you get the aim off of.
Okay.
Yeah, don't believe so.
My thought here is and this is what makes like ARC troopers, speeder bikes, anything with quote unquote free actions so good.
Yeah.
When you have a speed 1 move, it doesn't sound like a lot until you slap a giant ATST base onto it. And I think a reverse still gets you a tactical, right? So there's a world here where you're moving to get to an objective, getting your aim token, and just blasting something. You don't have to move, but the addition of the extra action gets you the efficiency to give you the options to do what you want.
I guess the only thing I don't like about it is I don't like the reduced speed. Like if it's all about moving, if it's all about moving, and I wanna go with him, and it's not a great late game priority play because I'm reducing my move, right? So now I'm talking like another situation where I'm playing a pip for priority, and I don't know if I can see this being like maybe early because it's like I already got scout 2. I'm probably in position. Maybe I need a bit more movement, but I want to get off an early suppression to, maybe catch somebody out in the open, or suppressive shot, catch somebody out in the open, or limit somebody's actions, early game. But I think I'm not sure I love the reduction in speed.
The other thing this does, I think, and it's not necessarily printed on the card necessarily, but what this does is if you have a hostage carrier that's about to die, or a box grabber that's about to die, or somebody that you need alive that's about to die, you play the 1 pip, and you just move to block line of sight.
Yeah.
And you still get to do all your stuff.
True. I probably would love to have 2 speed to do that, but yeah, I get it. So yeah,
I think
Justice is saying early round.
Yeah. Really what this is it's not the best 1 pip we've ever seen. It's probably like bottom of middle tier.
Yeah.
I will say it's better than the other Tempest 1 pip, in my opinion. I like it better than the other one.
I think that depends on the ruling for the other one.
True.
Yes.
True. I guess,
but the other one also requires you to get your ATST so close to the enemy that you have to be running them over.
Well, the other one also works with speeder bikes.
It does.
True.
Yeah.
True. The one does work with speeder bikes.
I think something to point out here too that I'm maybe overlooking is that you can play this 1 pip for priority, use the direct vehicle to another ATST, and do everything that I was scared of, because it doesn't reduce its speed. And so there is a play where you're just playing this for order control on maybe let's use double ATST for example. Order control on double ATST with priority to use the one you want and have the backup of this individual. So there is that that isn't terrible. So
and you get a bonus suppressive, because why not?
True. Yeah, you add that, and you're adding tactical, all that stuff. So it's not ambush, which ambush would be this. You could do the same thing, but you'd lose a couple keywords. And then there was a comment about Spec Ops being better, but I think Spec Ops just goes to special forces or operative.
Yeah, so you'd have to take a comms relay on a scout.
Exactly. So you'd have to do something around that. So there is option, because then you could, if you comms relay to Major, does he also then trigger his direct?
Direct.
He doesn't need an order to.
Oh yeah, I guess he doesn't even need an order for direct. He always gets direct. Yeah, that's right. He doesn't even need an order for that. But yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that would be a play where you could get a scout, get an order to him, have the direct, and have a bit more play there, and then you would give suppression out to your opponent if suppressions if they were issuing multiple orders. So yeah. So there's maybe a play around that, but anyway, that's the 1 pip. I wouldn't say it's, as Pally says, it's not like A tier, but it's I think it plays, and I think it's flavorful.
It's good enough.
List. Yeah, I think it'll do things.
It gives you options.
Yep, for sure.
It's also nice though, just to have a 1 pip that you don't feel like you want to hold into your hand until the perfect turn. You're like, I need priority. I'm okay playing this card because I don't really care about the text as much as I care about priority.
That
right?
I agree with. I agree with fully.
It's not. You're not sitting there with like, I need priority, but I can't play Son of Skywalker this turn because Luke is range 3 away.
Well, and to be honest, I was just going to say 2 heavies out of the bag. So not only her priority, but you have a little bit of bag clearance as well. So.
And again, with the size of the ATST base, I think even the speed 1. There's an absolute world here where you get from like a range 3 shot to a range 2 shot for the blast gun. And and again, it's sure range 2 speed 2 is better, but I think the size of the base probably negates most of that downside. This would be a lot worse on like a trooper size base.
Yep.
And there's been a lot more difficult area terrain on tables too recently. So, you might even be speed 1 already at this point based on where your ATST is placed.
Yeah, you're not wrong there too, Jace. Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, let's crack into...
Oh, justice, 100%. 100% justice.
Fourth battle force before Gar gets a second. I think we're going to see a 4th battle force before Gar gets another release. Just in general. just you're welcome. You're welcome, Justice. I kid with you. All right, so Squadron on me 2 pip. Major M here. At the start of Major M's activation, each other friendly vehicle unit at range 1 of him may perform a free pivot. Then they may make a speed 1 move. All right, Pally, you're up.
Oh, good God. Okay, so let me go through the downside first. This happens during Major M's activation. So at the start of it. So all your other stuff is going to do their moves. If you have like a speeder or something that you're trying to get into position for a move, your opponent has time to react to it, so they get a little bit of that counterplay. Downside's done. Oh my God. Buses blocking line of sight are good. This just takes your ATSTs and goes, hey, you don't get to see that thing anymore because we're going to pivot them and move them. Bikes being in position to be shot to suddenly not being in position to be shot. The free pivot for trajectory changes. So normally command cards to give you like 1 or 2 free moves are really good because a free move is how you win games. This thing says how many vehicles are at 6 inches of Major M, who has a giant base. They all get free moves. Hey, Oh, my army is now scoring breakthrough. Oh, my army is now scoring KP. All the stuff that you could shoot at, you no longer get to shoot at.
Can we just point out too the fact that like there's a world, again, I don't know why I'm just stuck on this early gameplay, but there's a world where you've scouted out all your vehicles and you've just kept them in a cluster because that was on your deployment. And you open with this, and then you just move your vehicles one speed closer, including your ATSTs. So there's a world
where
a
really big base.
Where there's a world where everything in your army just effectively got Scout 3 before a single activation has happened in this game. Deployment you've moved, and this is at the start of the of his activation. Now, if you have priority with the 2-pip, if you don't have priority, well, you might be in dire straits because your opponent's done one thing, and then you've done all the things. And I love the fact that you can have... and I was talking about this in the pre-show, is where I can last in my bikes and have some control, potentially, or just go late with them or whatever. But I can move my bikes in to shoot. And instead of having to have them all have orders or play a 1-pip for priority or trigger a bunch of HQ uplinks, I just play this card, and then I just pivot all the bikes and move them in behind a building here, there, or otherwise, or maybe directly behind the ATST that's also standing there that's just helped me trigger this effect. And then I say, when I pull them, I'll go again. And until then, you don't see these bikes. Now, obviously, that's not in every given situation in every single game, but there's a world where just suddenly scattering your bikes after you've maybe put them in a vulnerable position to shoot in the previous round feels pretty damn good.
Free moves win games. This is a card that gives you, in Magical Christmas Land, 5 free moves with pivots.
Yes. Pivots are massive.
The pivots are big. The pivots are the big part of the card.
Changing trajectory of bikes. Like, we've all been in a situation where you've measured out with your speed 3 move 155 times to land in that perfect position. Well, this one just really makes that math and that calculus a lot easier. And
or
being able to
mucks it up for your opponent.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And the nice thing about this card, and I think it couples very nicely with the 3-pip, where you use your moves or your scout and or your moves from the previous turn, and they don't know if you're playing this one or the standby one. Do I get close to try to negate that and eat the stand? Or do I stay far away and suddenly this gets played on me and now they're a whole speed closer than that range band that I was anticipating not having? Like this 2-pip and the 3-pip discussed before really play well in your bag of tricks that I think it makes predicting what to do against this rather difficult. And by the way, should we talk about the fact that you could probably have like 6 scouts in here too? Just we've been talking a lot about the ATSTs as the focus of the card, but maybe Roundtable will talk a little bit more about scouts because the cards seem very, very vehicle centric.
The cards are very ATST focused. They want you to play ATSTs with the cards.
But maybe where your bag has 1 core and 6 scouts, you don't really care about anything else. Maybe you just take Field Commander, don't take the Commander tax, and just take the cheapest, 1 Naked Storm and 5-6 scouts, whatever you can afford.
I think Major M wants a lot of vehicles. I think the Tempest specific command cards,
they're fine.
Like you can be fine running 0 ATSTs and just a bunch of speeder bikes and be golden.
No, Shawn, I'm fully aware it's more than Scout 3. I'm just using that as you've scouted 2 and then you've moved another one. So I'm just saying effectively you have 3 moves effectively with every single person. Way more because you're talking another full base. No, I'm aware of the math. I'm just saying it's like you've just effectively had 3 free moves to open the game.
You guys thought Blizzard press W? Oh.
Yeah, this is pretty scary. All right, let's do
and
the
then
last
you
one,
run those.
Do some roundtable.
Then you run those repair. You run those repair bot stormtroopers right behind this too, and just say,
"Yeah, cool." I'm not sure how much you could afford. You certainly can't go full scale ham if you're running.
You don't go scouts.
Minimal scouts, yeah.
But if you're running this guy, you run 3 ATSTs. You want 3. You can do it with 2, but 3 with him, and then you can still fit 3 naked scouts and 2 storms with repair bots, and it's disgusting.
Let's talk a little bit about the purchase price of this when we get into roundtable, because I'm interested to see if anybody thinks that's actually a barrier to playing this list. But okay, Armored Cavalry, last one. We'll get into this. It's a 3-pip here, 3 vehicles, again, vehicle-centric. When another friendly vehicle begins its activation at range 1 of Major M, it may choose one of the following effects. So again, a friendly vehicle at range 1 doesn't have to be issued off the card. It's just at range 1 of Major M.
Doesn't have to have a face-up order.
Nope, doesn't have to have an order at all. Just begins its activation. It can choose one of the following. If it's in his front arc, so meaningly, I guess you're in front of Major M here. It may gain 1 dodge token. If it's in his side arc, I would presume either left or right, it may gain 1 aim token. If it is in his rear arc, it may perform a speed 1 move. What if you are in both?
I think that's where it comes. You may choose one of the effects.
So it's
so
one
if you're in the
but
front,
you do get option, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're in the front and the side, you can choose between a dodge or an aim.
Yeah, that was my point. No. That there's that too, right?
Yeah.
I think
more
the strong
speed
part
moves.
Of this card is I think the strong part of this card is the aim or the move. Because it's when the vehicle activates, the dodge is probably like,
Yeah.
You know?
What I'm thinking is...
Go ahead, Jace. Go ahead. Oh, no, you go ahead.
I was just saying, what I'm thinking the move one is super awesome. I'm hanging out behind the ATST because I don't want to be seen. Now I'm going to pop out from the ATST and I'm going to shoot.
Well, the other thing, too, is because bikes are multi-model units and you can cohere a ways out, you can have your bike leader way off to the side and just make sure that the second model is cohered, even clipping the back arc of this thing. And then you get your move.
Yeah. I just, what I was referring to is I like the peekaboo element of this. I'm hiding behind you. I'm going to take the free speed 1 move out.
Mm-hmm.
And then on my turn, I'm going to shoot and scoot back. And how many you can do that with all the units.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just the ability for these ATSTs to be so fast, and or bikes, which are already fast, on the table is crazy. Like, you have a 3-pip here that's giving you moves, potentially. Obviously, you have to be in the rear arc. Here you have free moves happening off the 2-pip. We go back over here, and we're getting... not necessarily free moves, but we're getting, the standbys could potentially be a move as well. You're getting the disengage action. So again, free, I'd say speed on your movement out. So there's a lot of move potential within this list. So,
they start the game with Scout 2.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, the entire army just has free everything. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. All right, boys. Well, we hit the 1:30 mark, which was great. We didn't save any time for roundtable. Well, let's save some minutes for roundtable. Let's give the people some time here. But great discussion on that. Obviously, it's day 1 for it, and I have to go finish painting Tempest Force when I get off here, because it needs to be properly tested. We can't just prattle on about it and then not have any effects. So Jace has already declared he's running Tempest Force on the 21st, so that'll be fun. But let's drop this in and get some callers in here. We'll take a few calls. I'm sure people have some things to say. So the call center topics for tonight are: I have feelings. I'm not crying. Tournaments, all things related, and lessons learned. And I think there's going to be some lessons, both learned and taught by Tempest Force. I'm just putting that out there right now. And not to be overshadowed, but Ewoks are coming out. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
One more week.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about a cost of an army to get into, I've been looking at that. Holy, is that going to be an expensive one for people to start?
Well, and this one too, Jace. So that's while we wait for anybody who wants to call in. Like, if you're just looking at our costs. So going based on Canadian, I just bought a box of Scouts today, $40 and then tax. So let's call it 40 even. It's 37 something. So $40 for that. And if I want to run 6 Scouts, now I'm talking $240. Our ATSTs generally are about $75 on the store shelf. So if I'm running 3 ATSTs, now I'm talking again in the realm of what, $225 ish. So if I wanted to run, I don't know if you can run 6 Scouts, but let's just say that I wanted to have all the options. Like I wasn't sure. I don't know if I want the 3 ATST versions or I want to run the 6 Scout version. I'm playing all things Tempest. I could be looking upwards of $500 because I need a box of Stormtroopers. Maybe I have them, maybe I don't. But let's not assume that everybody has everything. Maybe I'm like Pally and I'm a single faction player, and this is the thing that gets me into Empire. Just, I'm going down that rabbit hole. $500 is a lot for a Legion army. Like in terms of, it's not a lot in other games. As I said, that's probably like a starter box, half a starter box in Warhammer or whatever. But like, I'm not sure if we're used to those costs, or if that seems to be a lot for what we've seen in Legion before. I'm not suggesting that it's overly expensive, but $500 is a lot of money, and I don't presume to know anybody's financial situation. But $500 to convince anyone who wants to try it out, that might be a lot. I'm just saying. And what were you saying about Ewoks, Jace? What are you looking? What's the cost? To get into the set you were looking for?
Just the cost of them in general is just crazy. I wasn't looking at it, but you need to buy the same box how many times? Like, if you want to be able to like max out, you need 9 of those boxes.
Right.
Because you need 3 slingers.
Go ahead.
3 slingers, 3 skirmishers.
Okay.
Right.
And they're probably $40 a box too.
Yeah.
Ish.
Something like that.
So $240 there, and then if you want the new ATST, probably another. You're probably looking upwards of $350 ish.
Yep.
So that's maybe that's reasonable, maybe that's not. I guess define reasonable, I guess, is different in everyone's book, but full Ewoks 9 is what Justice is saying here. So full Ewoks that's at 9. So 9 at 40. Now we're talking what, $360 plus your ATST. So now you are, you're cresting over that 400 realm. So
still cheaper than these guys.
Yeah, what's that? What is that, pal? You're showing us?
Warhammer.
Gotcha. Fair. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that Legion's overly expensive and it's the sky's falling kind of thing. I'm just saying that some of these forces, based on the configurations that you can take, we've never been in a realm where three heavies have been in. Certainly not for the Empire, I guess. So, Shawn said he made an 11-act Tempest Force with no ATSTs. I think that was a conversation we were having again in the pre-show. Like, are people just making Tempest Force with no ATSTs? I also built out some or non-ATST Tempest Force lists. So, no worries, call me Captain. We can read your chats out here. So, but yeah, feel free if you guys want to use that. If you guys don't want to, that's fine. We'll keep prattling on about this for a few minutes. But and another thing I want to talk about is the availability. Scouts seem to be hard to come by. I went to 2 stores and called another today just looking for some Scouts, and none of them. I got 1 box at one store, and the other store had told me that they're actually, at least from our distributor, was on back order. So there was no availability of getting them. I did find 3 boxes on the Amazon today, so I do have some more coming because I only had 3 myself. So I ended up buying 3 plus another one. So I got 7 boxes just to kind of build that out. But again, that might be tricky for people to get that. ATSTs I know are a little hard to find in the wilds, but we do have a new one coming out, which will be cool. So that is that's an option for people, and hopefully the availability is widespread, because I think sure, buy Blizzard Force box. That's right. I never again, that's a little bit of an added tax just to get Scouts, but there's that option.
Maybe we can talk some tactics here real quick with Tempest.
Yeah,
there's a part in the rules for the Battle Force where you get like essentially a free rapid reinforcement for a scout trooper, a full scout trooper,
or a bike, I think.
Or a bike, yeah. It's either one. I think the scout trooper is probably the better option. but I've been wrong before.
Yeah.
It's curious now, because now that you have that, just guaranteed, your opponent's going to have to dedicate more to their back objective, which is not a thing people are traditionally used to doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, being that you can drop a full scout on somebody's back objective, bully them off of it, and then when they pivot to react, you have these super zippy units that are coming around to reinforce.
A saboteur scout on the backside would be really annoying, because the more turns you don't deal with it, the more turns it's making that back objective potentially prickly.
And 10 black dice is gonna make stuff sad.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And also, the other thing I was going to ask is, having not had access to saboteurs, how realistic is it that you run several scouts with sabs and just litter the battlefield with these things?
How real? Like, when you say realistic, what do you mean by that? Like, how feasible? How much is that going to? Because, so I will tell you, I have primarily
how practical of a game plan is this?
I have just been looking at saboteurs.
Okay.
Because here's why. With the new panic rules and objectives, I think littering objectives with bombs to cause units to exactly. So if you throw out a bomb and you want to shoot a unit and detonate, if that's your choice, to lose models, maybe you do, maybe you don't. You know, because you could have, you know, dodges and other things, duck and covers and all the business, and maybe you see it, maybe you don't. But the potential for each unit to generate that much suppression, and then to put that out, and then have late game where it's like, all right, if you're gonna walk in, because I think you can detonate one bomb per action, right? You can't detonate multiple bombs within the same action window.
Is it one bomb, or is it one bomb?
Each scout unit can operate. Yeah, each scout unit can pop one bomb per action.
One bomb per action. Multiple.
Per scout unit.
Yes.
That's potentially you could pop 6 bombs per action.
Yeah, whatever. So the early potential to get up into position to litter with bombs is, now we have had a world where you could have bombs, like multiple bomb units. But I think the speed, coupled with the additional speed that you can get off some of the cards, coupled with the line of sight blockers that are ATSDs, I think that there is a world where bomb proliferation in key areas is a sound tactic.
Can you overlap bombs with models?
Are they considered condition tokens? Because I thought there was a world where you can't cover condition tokens.
They aren't condition tokens.
You can overlap condition tokens, I'm quite certain, but I don't know if they are considered condition tokens or not.
I'm like 95% sure they aren't.
What's that?
Call me Captain saying they're the same thing as Cad Bane tokens, so no covering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which means even if you don't blow them up, you've now placed a physical blocker to prevent people from touching scoring things.
You could, I guess, in a world where, like, let's just say you want, I don't know, seems like a weird tactic, but is there a world where you could, like, tap your VAP and then just bomb all around your VAP to prevent anyone from going to tap your VAP, like physically placing against it?
That was a thought.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's kind of the thought I had, right? Like, either tapping the VAP so that they can't touch it, if that's a thing, or if you litter them all over like an intercept point so that there's no gap bigger than a trooper base. And like multiple of these guys probably do that.
I just think that there's this strange world. Like, okay, so just imagine for a second that you have all these sab bombs, and you also have, like, you know, a card that gives multiple weapons suppressive. You have a card where all your vehicles get demoralized. You're running over units with displace moves. Like, this list, to me, while it screams offense, the suppression, the amount of control you can have, or action limitation that you can have with just the suppressiveness, the suppressiveness of the list, and not to be confused with the suppressive keyword, is pretty like prolific. There's a lot of and these bombs are going out coupled with a 10 black dice backup shot. Like, you're chucking bombs and shooting. It's pretty gross, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. It's So Shawn's saying just kill one unit, then force them to come in your minefield. I mean, I think let me ask this question before we get too far down this rabbit hole and go too long in the episode in general. But what are you bidding on this list, and are you bidding?
Okay, I think the answer to that question is, what objectives don't you want to see? And I can't think of one that I wouldn't want to see.
Like, are you? So I guess so. Jace, you have a 3 ATST list built out, right? How many thumb units do you have in that?
5.
You got 5 thumbs.
Yeah.
You got 5 potential. I'm just thinking about hostage carriers, VAP tappers, box grabbers. 5 for 3 boxes feels like you're probably playing more of a game of keep away than you are of 3 tapping. But intercept, you don't really love intercept.
No, you hate
perfectly
intercept.
Honest, I think you hate it.
You hate it.
Bombing run you don't want, can't scout then. I would say you're probably right on that.
I don't know that you hate intercept, because depending on how your list is built out, you have enough hate that what you can do is basically make the center intercept point a death zone.
Yeah.
That they just can't interact with, and then you play for the turn 6 win.
Yeah, you're gonna run at max. You're gonna get 4 to the middle, so you could do it. I'm just not sure that I don't know if you're like canceling to get to intercept.
No. Well, I don't think you're canceling to get to intercept, but I don't think you're upset if it comes up as intercept either.
Are you upset if bombing run comes up?
No, you just don't scout your bikes.
But Jace isn't playing bikes, period, though. Like, he's 3 ATSTs, 5 bodies.
Other point, with all of the free moves, you just don't scout your 3 ATSTs.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too.
That's where I was thinking.
And then their option is, do I kill the murder scouts that are going to kill me and let the ATST score? Or do I try to kill the ATSTs to prevent bombs? Good luck. And then the murder scouts just murder me.
Justice says you're taking a 22-point bid if you're taking scouts. I forget what his exact version is. I think he was running 6 snipers, and I'm not sure how many ATSTs. And we didn't really talk about that because we've talked a little bit about Sabs, but what are you guys thinking around the sniper variant, or a combination thereof, or do you like the sniper in there? Like, it's 2 black dice into your pool of 8, right? So, into your pool of 8 already. So you're not adding any black dice, but you are adding a pierce in there. And sharpshooter 1 already on there, so you already got that coupled, but you're not going to tag in high velocity, because unless you want to split fire, which you have the potential to do that as well.
I think if you're spamming scouts, 1 or 2 snipers is probably really good, just to strip those key standbys that people take here and there.
Yep.
Or you do a 3-3 split, or you do a 4 sniper 2s.
Yeah, like 4-2 is what I was looking at.
There's so many ways to split this that are just good.
There is.
If you run 4 snipers and 2 sabs, you can build a minefield while your sniper's going to work. If you take 2 snipers and 4 sabs, you can really build a minefield while you're denying important standbys, or you're putting shots into Jedi. Like, I don't think there's a wrong answer or a right answer. It kind of comes down to, what are you trying to do?
So Shawn's saying you can cover bomb tokens. I guess we want to clarify. Were you talking about stacking bombs on top of each other, Pally, or were you talking
You
about
can't do
stepping on top of a bomb is what you were asking?
I was talking about stepping on top of a bomb.
So they must not be considered condition tokens then.
Okay. Which you still get into the realm of
I've also not been able to find where you can't stand on condition tokens. I found where you can't stand on objective tokens, but I've not been able to find in the rulebook yet where you cannot stand on objective or condition
I don't think there is for conditions.
Okay, so fair. So you know what? I was actually in my brain thinking about intercept points and forgetting that they were objective for a second. Yes, 100%. You should be fine. Because can you step on a supply drop though? Can you be on top of a supply?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I guess people just don't because you just touch it. But yeah, fair enough.
I mean, but even if you can stand on a bomb, ouch.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's still gonna go off for sure.
Yeah.
10 black with a sniper. Yeah, it's 10. Yeah, that's what I said, Justice. It's just 8 plus 2. You're not adding any dice, is what I was saying. Is you're just adding a pierce value in. But
so,
but I feel like that pool is more of a split fire pool, to be honest. So
it's flexible. The keys in the flexibility. It really comes down to, do I want the pierce and the range 5 option, or do I want to build a minefield? When you have enough scouts like this, you'd be like, or do I want to do both?
Yeah, I think the Sab is great, and the reason why is because the range band you're playing at with the scouts more often than not, the bomb's gonna be at play. You know, you're gonna have it in a position that's likely advantageous, and you're not trying to like find. I just think that if you're playing snipers and you're just looking for the range, 5 shots, you're probably not getting full value out of the rest of the dice pool.
No.
And I don't know if you really want to be running your snipers up that close anyway. I mean, you can, but they're not as prickly as the other scouts. So for me, I think the Sab's a better route. It's 2 points cheaper too, by the way. So,
well, and with the Sab, you get to lay your bombs out, still do your shooting, and then when you pull back because you generate too much heat, you now have bombs there.
Yes, you do. Yeah, there's a world where maybe bombs will be a thing. They're interesting, very interesting. Another kind of interesting point too around the KP play, if you're playing Sabs with bikes, is there's a world where you could just send your bikes in and not have to worry about sending troopers in, where you're kind of like, I can go from a long ways away and threaten this KP because I can displace you off here. So I don't need to be sending troopers in to kind of stand there. Then you get in this world where it's like, geez, if I detonate, I'm going to actually be hurting myself too. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like the bike play with the Sabs just for exactly that. And same thing, I guess, for displacing anybody off any point. So,
J-Rod's saying you can't stand on conditions.
Yeah. Sorry, we come up to the. I just think chat's slightly behind our conversation, which is fine. I'm just trying to catch up here. So, you can step on supply drops. Yes, I just don't think people do. I've never seen somebody stand on a supply drop. Only touch it, but fair. And then Call Me Captain says, I also think that smoke nades for heavy cover at STS is a thing in this list. Can spam them
ATSTs. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that what he meant?
So heavy cover ATSTs, he just didn't have the hyphen in there.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, ATST's got it, missing the hyphen, and the S is gotcha.
Yeah, heavy. Most of the long range impact shots tend to be smaller dice pools. So looking at Remnant Dark Troopers not counting, or Death Troopers, I mean, because those guys are dirty. I think heavy cover ATSTs is probably pretty good, especially because it evens the playing field a little bit, because your ATSTs are probably shooting into heavy cover all the time.
Yeah.
It's probably not evening the playing field a lot, but a little helps. The thing is, in order to do that, you basically have to pop 2 smoke grenades around to give them heavy cover. So you're going to burn through those pretty fast. It's a thing you can do. I just don't know how good it is.
Yeah.
Or smoke doesn't work on vehicles. I thought it. I don't know. Smoke's weird. I don't see it enough to remember.
Yeah, is there a world where you can just take, like, I don't know, concussion grenades or impact grenades on scouts and just be really prickly against even vehicles up close?
Yeah, I wonder if you take frag grenades on these scouts.
I mean, the surge to crit ain't half bad. You know, a surging pool just makes up for the aim. You also, you still got that.
But here's the thing: if you're taking, say, Major M, so you don't have the commander, then you probably put emergency transponders on your scouts. So now you get surge crit and an aim.
I mean, there's that. I mean, you can take an O push on it, and you could just make a double aim off that shot, and that feels pretty good too. You don't need to throw a lot. And again, just playing at that same range 1 band, range 1 to 2. Yes, scouts are squishy. Yes, scouts can die. They're a lot easier to get heavy cover now than it was before, for sure. But I think the idea is that you want to be trading up, or at least trading up in both like wounds and action potential. So I think their ability to maybe deny actions will actually be pseudo defense for them, for return fire and aggression against them. So remains to be seen. I think it's a pretty exciting battle force, to be perfectly honest. I think that it has a lot of people reacting. I do love and appreciate all the memes. If you put away your impact for a bit, probably get that back out. Already questions today in our local be like, is this legal for the tournament on Saturday? Like people are already already making adjustments and painting their units. I don't know anybody like that, but there's probably people out there doing that. So
this battle force would get me to buy into Empire.
That's interesting.
But my wife loves me, and I want it to stay that way.
You'd like to have a home to keep coming inside to on occasion. That's what you're saying. The streets are hostile enough. Pally doesn't need wife aggro when he's coming in indoors occasionally. So
look, when I walk into the house, because she's a smart lady and also loves all of the nerd stuff with me. When I walk into a house with a pile of Legion boxes that aren't Republic, I can already feel that look.
You could say you're holding them for a friend.
Shawn, Ryan quit. Pally has no Legion friends left.
Fair. So, Kelly Captain says Dark Troopers were just the beginning. Well, fair enough. But if you're already taking impact for them, then luckily you probably already got it on board to handle all the ATSDs. I just don't look forward to having to kill 33 points of armor. Like, yes, it's white. But, like, if you get rid of one ATSD and a double ATSD list, you're like, all right, I feel like I can zone this one out. And if you have 3, when do you feel good? At what point do you feel good?
So you have to take a Stormtrooper. Do you just put a repair bot on it to get rid of the damage tokens?
I mean, you can. It just gets free moves to get there faster anyway. So, there's that. Let me just run this guy up here as scout to this guy up. So, whatever. Yeah, it's interesting for sure. So
you take 6 saboteurs, you force breakthrough, you mine your entire deployment, which you probably have long march, so it's not difficult to mine. And then when they get into score, they're suppressed all to hell, so they don't actually score.
Yeah, you're just like putting like little saboteur droppings along the way, and you could just, well, here's the nice thing too. If the saboteur ever wants to find its way back to the deployment zone, it just follows its own trails of bombs. So you're leaving little breadcrumbs along the way. You can see track the. I'm not looking forward to the day where we have 6 on Friday night fights, and I have to mark off all the little spinny icons for the bomb tokens. These are objectives. These are condition tokens. These are all the saboteur bombs. Here's all the bomb rings.
What we'll do is we'll just make little reflective tape discs so that they shine in the overhead light.
Fair. Actually, I kind of look forward to putting all those rings on the screen now that I'm just have a trigger warning at the start. So, yeah.
Somewhere
Shawn gets a weird satisfaction from this.
Yes. Only partially because I'm remembering the time that we did the secret bombs and Jace ran into his own bombs and blew himself up several times in a row, which is also awesome. Yeah, it was a good one. That was a good one. So,
I clearly did not know who was on what side of the table for that game.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not like it's on the internet for everyone to watch. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Hansel and Gretel list with the breadcrumbs. Absolutely, Justice is not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
I can't wait until somebody runs out of condition tokens and has to borrow from their opponent. Their opponent's like, no, you are ill prepared. I am not loaning you any tokens. So
I'd be getting one of those old tubes that hold pogs and just one or two of those up.
Bring a slam or two just for fun, just to be nostalgic and play a little pog. So, all right. Well, I think we've definitely created some good discourse around Tempest Force. I look forward to seeing Jace run it and hopefully not being on the receiving end of ATSDs. Jace, do you have 3 ATSDs?
I have 1.
You cannot borrow mine if you are playing against
I will
me.
borrow.
And if you are playing against Anthony, you are more than welcome to run and use all 3. So hopefully Anthony's not hearing this and gets no secret tech and doesn't come with like Impact 47 to face it.
And there's going to be like triple Ion Spider, triple Rocket Magna, 6 B1 Rocket.
Yeah, I don't know if the stock of Ion Spiders goes back up with the prospects of 3 HSTs on the other side. It's just like, cool, I'm losing an action. Major M just says we don't care about actions because we get all the free things. So, Shawn's saying just kill Major M. Yeah, you probably can. For sure. You probably can.
Probably.
And the spiders are probably just going to die.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, droids go boom when they run into mines too, so there's that. Yeah, you could be removing a lot of models. I just can't wait till somebody has to walk into like I'm going to set off 11 mines right now. Even though I can't do it all at the same time, I'm just going to over the course of this round. So that's get your suppression token focused ready because I think you're going to need them. So you have to have a commander and the comm slot to remove 1 less suppression at the end of the round, says Zach here.
It must be just catching up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No problem, Zach. I'm sure people will watch the episode and have all the comments. So again, first day for Tempest Force, so we don't have all the answers to all the things, but we'll seek clarity because I think that 1 pip, just getting a little clarity on that, no matter what it is, as long as they just say, no, you're good. You're good, Zach. Totally good. Yeah, you don't have to apologize for that. So
this will be clarified in a future update.
Yeah, definitely will be.
It'll be clarified by Jace in the next 3 minutes of where you're at in the podcast.
Yeah, all good. We're good. Bomb crumbs, I like it. I'm not sure. We'll have to be careful on a Friday night fight where we just have to say the word bomb several hundred times on a YouTube video. Probably will be interesting, but. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Mr.
NSA. Yeah, nobody cares about us here in Canada. We're not talking about real bombs. We're just talking about a game. It's all good. Just watch the episode. You'll be fine. So,
exactly.
All right, guys. We'll have thanks for coming on, Pally and Jace, for hanging out for the time here. My dogs are definitely wanting a walk, so I need to go take them.
Yeah.
And then I need to
go. Allowing me in off the street.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, and thank your wife for allowing you to come in. And remember, those models are for a friend. That will work for a while, for sure. So, and then when you never send them, just then take the models out and then send empty boxes out in part. Be like, I'm sending all these boxes out, and they'll just be empty, and you'll keep the models, and it'll be fine. Yeah, and I'll make a reciprocal video. Pally sent me a box of models, and I'll We'll play it out.
And you have all the models already, so it would work.
Exactly. Totally.
Here's the problem.
Yeah.
And anybody that's married knows this. She'll look at me, and she'll know.
Fair. That is fair. That is fair. Shawn, just because we might as well end with this cap here, pointing out that of course you take Minefield in the Tempest Force Battle Force. And I mean, while we're at it, do you take rapid reinforcements and limited visibility? Just
I think you take Limb Viz. I think you take Limb Viz, run straight forward with 6 saboteurs, and just go mines.
I am here now. Yeah. Yeah, of course you do. And I don't know what else you take, but it's probably fine.
Then
4 to 5 positions just for funsies.
Like round 1, you move up with the Scout 3, move up to outside of their ability to shoot you range, drop all the mines. Round 2, you drop all the mines again and then move back up.
Yeah, of course you do. And now you have 12 mines out, and it's the end of round 2 or midway through round 2 whenever you get those off.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next turn you play your standby card. And if you need to fall back into position, throw 6 more mines out. Yeah, like Breakthrough would be insane. Breakthrough would be like, I'm just going to play keep away. I'm going to go maybe fly a bike into the end zone, but I'm going to go out and bomb at range, whatever, 3+ bomb range, back up, bomb again, back up, bomb again. And you just put a lot of bombs down.
Well, you bomb your entire, you just bomb the board, the whole thing.
Yes, this is exactly what, thanks, Tempest Force. This is what you've done to Legion.
Outrider Dan, that's next week. I'm here for it. I play Battlefront 2. I'm here for it.
So Dan, Pally opened with that. I'm not sure where you are in the episode, but he opened with that. But you can send your complaints not to us because we didn't make the Battle Force. But interesting. Yeah, I can't wait to hear other people's takes on Tempest because I think. Unlike Remnant, just end capping right here. Unlike Remnant, I think that Tempest has a little bit more diversity in terms of play, like in terms of what you could do with it. I feel like Remnant does really like the gunline-esque approach, and maybe I'm not playing it the same way everybody else is, but yeah, Tempest Force with Iden would be gross. I mean, I think Tempest Force is just gross in general, like gross in a good way, question mark. I haven't been on the receiving end yet, but looking forward to that. So
I'm just happy you don't get free standbys off of a 3 pip with 3 E-webs.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah. You're probably happy they can't take Dark Troopers. Man, Tempest Force needed Dark Troopers. Can't wait till the next errata. Would be great.
I don't know if I'm as scared of Dark Troopers as I am like 36 mines over the course of a game.
Absolutely. Yeah. In front of ATSTs, yeah. Or maybe not 3, but possibly in front of 2. Scary. Justice, this is why I get held up at the board. I missed that one. Yeah, that is accurate. So Dan, Outrider Dan, I hope you were at the local gaming store showing some. Oh, shut up. I mean that in a nice way. I was just gonna say I was hoping you were gonna tell me you were just introducing a new player using Tempest Force. Just yeah, this is.
It just came out today. It's new.
Yes. Here you go. Awesome. Looking forward to all of this. So, all right, guys. Well, have a great night. Sorry, we'll not see you tomorrow. I will give you the redux of how my weekend goes, and then hopefully we'll have some other events to talk about early August, and then my trip home. I'll be hanging out with OS Dad and a strange event, and so what I'll plan to do is maybe record some stuff while I'm down there, and maybe do some clips and get some local reactions from some Friday Night Fight crew in the East Coast, and I'm sure they'll be rocking their wares at the local event, and they were kind of joking about me coming down there, and if I'm able to take an invite, which I've already won an invite at that point, and there's no guarantee I will do well at all. But they were joking about me just coming in, bullying, and then going back to Saskatchewan. So that's not the case. I will be super friendly for sure. So, but I do look forward to playing against some East Coasters and have a grand old time down there. So, all right, gentlemen, have a great night. Jace, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good weekend camping. Pally, well, you're always camping. That's what living in the streets is like, I guess. So, just urban camping, I guess. So good. So just a clarity, Pally doesn't really live in the streets. In case anyone's tuning in, this is their first episode ever. Like he has a home. So yeah, sleeps on the couch, but he has a home. So
more accurate than you realize.
I only said it because it's true. I only said it. We don't peddle rumors here. So. All right, gents, have a great night, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Toodles.